Hey everyone, Jamie Mix here from Miss Paper, and today I'm going through the full process of putting together an Everyday Explorers Co. Mini Book Markers Club notebook. I am documenting a short weekend getaway to Denver using the kit.
So I'm using the Mini Book Bakers Club kit number 15, which is Adventure Time. And this is the adorable 4x6 notebook that comes with the kit. So it has this grid option at the top, and then there are some, what are these called? Dot grid. There we go. This is a dot grid down at the bottom. And so you can play around with adding either photos that are this size into the little squares. You can make them larger, smaller, all of that fun stuff. So that is what this notebook looks like. At the front, it has the opportunity for you to write who the mini book belongs to, when it was started, and what your next adventure is going to be. Also included with the kit are 3 sticker sheets in the same colors, so that's the wonderful thing about these kits, they coordinate. And I thought this color palette was incredibly fun, so I'm excited to play with these. And you also now get little 4x6 papers, so that here is what these look like. This awesome multicolored stripe. All of these papers are double-sided, and one thing I like about them is that they are paperweight. They aren't cardstock weight. They're a little bit thicker paper, but still they're not quite to cardstock weight. And so I really like that. They don't add a lot of bulk to your notebooks. They can tear really nicely if you want to go about tearing them. So I really love that Christine has added these little 4x6 papers in. And then last but not least is the stamp set. So super excited to be using this stamp set alongside the little notebook. I went ahead and did a bit of color matching. I never go for perfection with these kinds of things. I just kind of go for what I think is a good approximation. So we have Studio Calico's Creme Brulee, Studio Calico's Lemon Zest. This is a really old ink pad from A Beautiful Mess, and it's their redhead ink. I tried another option, but it was just way too dark. This one is obviously not as red, but I mean, they're pretty close, so I'm happy with that. We have Pink Fresh's Slumber, Stargazer, and Evergreen to round this out. So the next step I'm gonna take is, I have all of my photos in order. I had originally printed several of these, or most of them actually, to be used in a different project. Not a different project, but in a different format. And then when I saw the colors of this notebook, I just thought it worked really well with some of the stuff that we were wearing and the nature and things like that. So I decided to repurpose them for this little notebook. And you won't see some things like this once I get started on my notebook, and I'll explain what I'm gonna do there. So let's get started.
The first thing I decided to do was work on my title page. I really have no clue how this little notebook is going to come together. I don't really know much about the design other than I'm going to be using these specific kit components. So I'm having fun just playing around. And the first page is going to be very different from the rest of the album, but I decided to cut out all of the stamping, the digital stamping that I had behind us in the photo, and instead I am going to silhouette us and use the silhouette of us as the title page. I am playing around with some of the kit elements to see what it is that I want to do there. I have pulled one of the little tag stickers from the stamp set, or not the stamp set, the sticker page. I just thought it was really cute and kind of an anchor to use in my background. And then drawing reference from how the photo was printed, I instead decided to use the stamps to add a bit of stamping behind our heads using this specific stamp set. I really want Adventure Time to be in the middle of the page, in the middle of our heads, as it were, just because I really love that sentiment and it's totally applicable for a weekend away. And so I'm just using a few of the stamps, not many of them, to add directly onto the background page. I'm gluing in the silhouette of us just so that I make sure that I'm going to perfectly place that Adventure Time piece. And I want it to get in between the boys' heads, above our heads, and a little bit onto that tag. So it worked out perfectly. I really like how that looks. And then I'm just going to finish it off by adding one more little stamp to the left side. And I use a bit of that creme brulee stamping, and I make sure to mask off just in case I were to get a little bit on the cover. But I just like the balance of having those 3 kind of tan colored stamps sprinkled around our heads. I wanted to include that little weekend getaway because this is exactly what it was, just a really short trip. And then to anchor that tag just a little bit more, I decided to stand behind it. And so you can't really see the words that I'm stamping, which is Weekend Wanderer, but there's a kind of wavy shape around it that I thought worked really well. And so I'm happy with just kind of the few stamps that I added behind us. And I will add the dates of this little trip directly on top of a sticker that I'm pulling from the kit. And then I am using some of the alpha stamps that are available at Everyday Explorers Co. to adhere Denver, which is where we went, to the bottom of the page. I just like that we're it's like a layered cluster just at the bottom with a lot of white space. And I just think it's fun. I don't silhouette photos very often, so this was a change of pace for me, and I like how it turned out. I thought I might add an asterisk here, but I decide that I don't like the sizing of it, so I end up pulling it up. And you'll see later on in the video how I decided to embellish this later on. And then the very last thing I do is get my little plus sign stamp set and add it just a few places in various ink colors and call it good. So once I have my title done, the next phase of the process for me in getting this entire notebook finished was to go ahead and adhere all of the photos to all of the background pages. That means sometimes that I had to peel them up and move and shift things around a little bit, but I like having at least a foundation, knowing where embellishments are going to go, where journaling is going to go, that whole thing. So I am just going through the entire notebook. Like I said, I had my photos stacked in order, and I'm adding them directly to the background pages. I didn't have enough to fill the entire notebook, so what I did actually is just adhere some of the pages together, and I didn't have to take any pages out. It just meant that a few of them were glued back to back, and then I was able to have the exact number of photos in my notebook that I actually needed. Like I said, it was just a short weekend. I didn't take a lot of photos, and I think the photos that I did take really did a good job of capturing this weekend. We spent just 3 days in Denver, in on a Friday, out on a Saturday, and the main purpose for our trip was to go to a concert at the Red Rocks Amphitheater. We saw Tedeschi Trucks Band, which is a band that my husband and his friend Mike are really big fans of, and I had never really been exposed to their music before, but I really enjoyed the experience. So it was overall like a really great trip and a fun time to hang out with some people who live in a different state and we don't get to see very often. So that was really great, really great opportunity for us to hang out with some friends. So I'm nearly finished here adhering all of the photos into the notebook. And then my next step after that was adding in journaling. So I'm printing on sticker paper, and I measured the little squares and different things just to see what sizes I needed to print everything at. Then I created text boxes in InDesign and added my journaling there. And so then I'm just peeling the sticker paper off and adhering them directly into my notebook. I really love doing this. It's something that I learned from Nancy Damiano, which was just genius to me. So it has changed how I scrapbook for sure, having the opportunity just to print everything and paste it in, and it's just awesome. So if you haven't tried using clear sticker paper, I would highly recommend it. So once all the journaling is added in, I decide to start embellishing. So I picked up the sticker sheets that are included in the kit and just start flipping through the pages to see what stickers will work. There's some stickers that have just fun shapes and sayings on them, and then there's these word strips in all of the colors of the kit, and I just really am having fun plugging and playing into the various spots that are available to me based on the design of these little notebooks. This specific design. So if you are unaware, the Mini Book Makers Club notebooks, every one has a different kind of background setup. So where this has the 4 little boxes and the dot grid on the bottom, it will be totally different design next time around. But I think that really helps you to have a starting point, and it makes all of these little notebooks just totally different in how you approach them, which is really fun for me. So still just flipping through and seeing where I can stick photos down. Some things it's really obvious like where a sticker could go. So I'm having fun just placing those around. Usually I'm sticking things in kind of empty spaces, but sometimes if there's like something in the background of the photo I maybe want to cover up, I do that too. Next in my process is to pick up the stamp set, and similar to how I approached it with the stickers, just flip through each page by page to see what stamps and what stamp sentiments might work. And I sometimes stamp directly into the notebook, and sometimes I stamp onto white cardstock and cut it out and paste it. It really just depends. Because I stuck all the stickers down, that meant that sometimes I needed to peel up stickers and then put them back. But I am totally fine with that. I do that all the time in my scrapbooking. And I'm just having fun with all of the various stamp ink colors and all the fun sentiments that are included in this stamp set. I'm just really loving how they are so appropriate for this specific little trip that we took to Denver. Yeah, just love them. And then I'm also using some of the icons and cutting those out directly to use as embellishments elsewhere in the album. So I'm just flipping through to see what's left and where I need to plug things in. So we've added stickers, we've added stamping, and my next step then is going to be incorporating pattern paper, the 4x6 pattern paper specifically that is included in the kit. I absolutely love any kind of striped paper, especially paper that has the same colors as the other elements of the kit. Oh, it's so awesome for me. So I just cut them down into skinny strips, and I am going to add them into various places in the notebook. And I love the continuity that this adds. I love like the pops of bright colors that it adds. It's just so great for me. And one thing about the Mini Book Makers Club kits is that Christine has a really interesting approach to color theory. I mean, she pulls together colors that I would never even think of. Like this entire set is something that I would probably never have come up with on my own, but I absolutely love it, and it makes me so excited to play in. And that is one of the many reasons why I love these little kits.
Okay, so this is what my little mini book looks like now. I am pretty much done with it. There's just a few things that I want to do to finish it off. So one of the things is just to stamp the word itinerary here. Let's see what else. Let me just flip through so that you can see that it's pretty good to go. This is a quote from Anthony Bourdain, so I want to type Anthony Bourdain down, or not type, stamp Anthony Bourdain down there. I went and added little pattern paper pieces. I printed this photo out. I changed a bit here because there was an orange embellishment that I just was not liking how it went with this color scheme. But it is almost there. Like I said, there's just a few places where I want to finish off by doing some stamping. So let me show you what my supplies look like. So I've used a ton of the stickers already, and I have a few left to play with later. Obviously I have the stamp set, and then these are the 2 pieces of pattern paper that I have left, and that's all that's coming from the kit. So next steps for me are going to be stamping using, I think I'm gonna use something outside of the kit. So as you can see, this kit got me super far. Like it's done, aside from just adding a few titles here and there. So what I want to do is to stamp Anthony Bourdain down here using this small woodblock stamp set from Studio G. I think I got this at Michael's a long time ago. And then up at the front, I want to stamp Itinerary using this stamp set from Everyday Explorers Co. It's the Mini Explorers Alphabet. That's the plan there. And then I have this little plus sign, I guess let's call it a plus sign, that is part of a lot of Everyday Explorers designs. As you can see here on the Adventure Time stamp, there's a little guy, a little version of it, and I used it on this front title page, but I want to incorporate it elsewhere into the notebook just to tie everything together. And what I think I'm going to do is just use the creme brulee stamping and put it in a few places around the notebook. This is totally optional. Obviously, this could be done once I stamp those 2 titles, but I just want something that's gonna kind of bring everything together and make it a little bit more cohesive on the inside. And then if I feel like it after the fact, I also have these chipboard asterisks. They are white, black, and silver that I may sprinkle in here and there. I like that they're just this generic shape that I can potentially add to a few places here in my notebook. And then another thing that I want to make note of is that this is the only potential dimensional product that I'm going to be using. Everything else has been paper and stamps and stickers. And so I like to, if I'm going to add things like this that are slightly dimensional, I want to do it at the end, just so it makes it easier if you're stamping directly into your notebook. You're not also having to play with like various heights behind the page and things like that. So just something to think of. So yeah, I think I know where I'm going next, so let's get to that.
So using that little, no, I'm doing the titles first. So I try to handwrite out the word that I'm stamping, just so that I can easily reference it, because that is stamping directly onto your background page is a quick way to make mistakes, and I don't want to have typos or anything like that if I can avoid it. Honestly, I didn't really look up if this is exactly how the word itinerary is spelled, so if it's not, I'm okay with it, but at least it's a close approximation. I hope there's an A in that word. I struggled with itinerary, but had no problem writing out Anthony Bourdain's name, of course. So just stamping those directly onto the background pages using the different colorful stampings. I have a lot of fun in these little notebooks stamping in the various stamp colors. Instead of just always using black, I just think it's fun to use all of the different colors, especially when they coordinate with the kit. So then I pick up that little cross plus sign. I think I decided plus sign was a better word for it, and stamp it just sparingly on the pages. I try to do these like kind of in a triangle. I try to do it like at least 3 times in some places. I don't want to overdo it because it is really, you can very quickly lose control if you just start stamping and stamping away. So I try to be really thoughtful about where I stamp these, and I just want to add a tiny little bit of continuity, a little bit of extra something. And I think that that achieves it. So very last step for me is adding the dimensional embellishment. Again, these aren't part of the kit, but I just like the extra texture that it adds. Since there's no page protectors in this anywhere, it's fun to have these dimensional products included as well, to just add a little bit more tactile feel to your projects.
Alrighty, and here is my finished notebook, and I will just quickly do a flip through here. So the last thing I did was add all of those asterisks. They are silver, black, and white, and I love how they flow through the entire notebook and just add a bit of continuity to this album, along with the little plus signs that I stamped, and of course the color scheme that is used throughout the entire notebook, and then the same stamp set. I just really love how this came together. So I'd had these photos printed and in a 4x4 album, intending to document this trip that way, but I just wasn't inspired by it. And as soon as I saw the colors in this kit and the theme of it, I knew instantly that I wanted to use it for this little quick weekend trip that we did to Denver, and I absolutely love how it came together. So I will sign this as finished. Stamp it. Today is May 23rd. It only took me a day to put this together. That is how quickly it came to be.
And that is the end of this little notebook. I hope you enjoyed going on the journey of putting it together, gluing in the photos, adding stickers, adding stamps, printing my journaling and adhering that in, going back through and just kind of zhuzhing it up with a few additional stamps and also some dimensional embellishments. So next up are a few photos of the finished pages that I have posted over on Instagram at Misc Paper. That's MISC Paper. And you can also click on the link in my YouTube banner. For info on the product I use, check out the links in the description box on YouTube. But I just want to say thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please be sure to like it and or subscribe to my channel. I appreciate you. Jamie Makes, signing off.